Welcome back to Newsnight on the Sunday evening. As we continue to take a look at some of the stories, Africa has another potential Nobel Peace Prize Laureate and is the youngest head of state on the continent. Since becoming Ethiopia's Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed has been applauded for ending the ongoing war with Eritrea and opening up dialogue with opposition groups. He's also appointed the country's first female president, and half of the posts in his cabinet are held by women. So what makes a good leader? Nomason Topu has got the latest.
What are the characteristics of a good leader?
A good leader is someone with a vision for his people. A good leader is someone who knows his people's struggle, someone who goes out of his way to make sure they are catered for.
Another important one in the South African context at the moment is someone who will not suppress press freedom.
One of the many individuals associated with good leadership is former statesman Nelson Mandela.
My very first political action, the first thing I ever did that involved an issue or a policy or politics, was a protest against apartheid. I would study his words and his writings. The day he was released from prison gave me a sense of what human beings can do when they're guided by their hopes and not by their fears. And like so many around the globe, I cannot fully imagine my own life without the example that Nelson Mandela set. And so long as I live, I will do what I can to learn from him.
But this year, a documentary looking at the role his former wife, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, played in the struggle had many questioning if he deserved all the praise.
Mama never killed Stompie. Even the most brutal, murderous police commissioner, George Fivers, came out and said there was never evidence linking Mama to the killing of Stompie. But they continue to peddle that lie. And I said, let's say for a second Mama killed Stompie, right? And pack it aside and say, how many people were killed in the camps during MK? And they were accused of being sellouts. They were killed under President Tambo. They were killed under commanders like Krisani, Joe Modise, and many others. Today, we are not told that those people are murderers, because they had to do what they had to do to safeguard the revolution. Why here, with one incident, we must be told forever?
A certain demonization of her contribution to the struggle. Those who contributed to that were, of course, people like the director of Stratcom, and then, of course, also certain forces within her own party, because there was a scramble for power during that time, and Winnie was not somebody who could be sufficiently controlled.
So where does one begin looking to find the criteria for a good leader? The Mo Abraham Foundation is known for measuring good governance. It hands out an annual prize to former African heads of state for good leadership. Former Botswana President Festus Mogae was awarded the prize in 2008. He was commended for ensuring the Southern African nation was stable and prosperous during one of the continent's worst HIV/AIDS pandemics. During his tenure, the virus affected nearly 25% of the country's adult population. But Mogae has admitted he didn't do enough for homosexuals. He says he wasn't prepared to lose elections over the issue of gay rights. While being selfless is an important trait for a good leader, the opposite trait makes for a bad one.
A bad leader is every leader on the African continent who is over the age of 70, in their 80s, perhaps even their 90s, who haven't been able to give opportunities to the younger people.
I wouldn't rate Donald Trump as a good leader. I mean, I know 59 million Americans voted for him.
U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw American troops from Syria, despite the advice of his allies, is just the latest of his decisions that have left many concerned.
America, great again. Thank you, Florida. Thank you.
Other leaders in history known for making unpopular and at times disastrous decisions include Adolf Hitler, P.W. Botha, and even former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe. But they all enjoyed a support base. Noma Sontopoe, Johannesburg.